Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending the early childhood session for Language at Home. How can we enrich daily routines with language? I'm Laure Grove. I'm an early childhood special education teacher. I teach at Terra Center Elementary School in Burke, and I am so happy to have you watching this presentation. Okay. How on earth can we provide an enriched language environment outside of the classroom in our lives here at the house without feeling overwhelmed with the daily jobs of being a parent, managing our homes, and not having a little coach by our side reminding us and prompting us on when to do something and how to do it? Because we know our mind is all over the place taking care of so many things. Well, I'm going to tell you that every teeny tiny moment matters with you and your child in the house. Okay, well, what does that mean, Miss Grove? Well, we are models. We know that. We are models for so many different things, and our children do look up to us. We have children on varying ability levels, right? However, we still need to be their role model for language and communication. And in order to be a fantastic model, we kind of need to know the three most important types of language modeling that we can provide our children. One of which is self-talk, another is parallel talk, and the third is repetition and extension. Okay, what are those different things, Miss Grove? Well, let me tell you. Self-talk is literally saying what you as the adult are doing. Perhaps I am cutting up chicken nuggets on the plate that's in front of my child. I'm going to say, wow, look, mommy's cutting your nuggets. I'm cutting them into little rectangles so that you can dip in your ketchup. Yummy. I cut your nuggets. That's self-talk. You are just talking about everything you're doing. I know it sounds silly, and the first few times that you do it, you feel absolutely ridiculous, especially when you apply self-talk out in the community. Perhaps you're walking around Walmart or Target. Self-talk is the most wonderful time to apply in one of those shopping experiences, maybe even the grocery store. It feels ridiculous, but you are being a fantastic language model to your child. Now, the next one is parallel talk. Parallel talk is when you describe or narrate everything that your child is doing. Let's go back to the chicken nugget example. So you just cut the chicken nuggets, and your little one decides to pick up a chicken nugget in one hand and then the other hand. You would say, wow, look at you. You picked up a chicken nugget in both hands. You have 2 chicken nuggets. Uh-oh, they're getting closer to your mouth. Oh, you ate both chicken nuggets. Now your hands are empty. So you are literally just describing everything that's happening. Now, the last form of language modeling that we're going to apply to our session today is repetition and expansion. This is when you say or do what they said or did, and then add a little bit more to it. I call it adding more spice because you're making the language experience even more robust as if it were a recipe, okay? And so perhaps your child vocalizes, but maybe your child doesn't vocalize. Or maybe your child uses an alternative communication device or pictures to vocalize and share their ideas and thoughts. Okay. Perhaps it's eye gaze. So you might literally do the exact same things that they said or did. Perhaps your child said, look, as you are pulling the chicken nuggets out of the freezer. And you would then say, you would repeat what they said. Look, you're right. I'm pulling them out of the cold freezer. And watch out. So the frozen peas don't fall, I'm going to block. Okay, that was an extreme expansion. You might just repeat the one word they said and expand with a couple extra words. I'm a little dramatic though in my expansion a lot of the times. Perhaps you have a younger child or a really early learner, and in which you don't want to add too much vocabulary and you want to keep the words or the examples a little bit more simple for them. You know your child best, as well as working with your teachers, understanding cognitive levels and what their best abilities are, and the amount of language you should provide, as well as the types of vocabulary. Okay. But repetition and expansion is literally repeating what they did or said and then adding more to it. Okay. In just explaining all of this, you can see how much my mouth moved. Well, I call language modeling at home or talking with your child mouth exercise. And this is mouth exercise for the adult. So before you start, you might want to make sure that you are all nice and warmed up because you are talking nonstop. Okay. Some things to consider as you are engaging in your mouth exercise, your self talk, parallel, repetition, and expansion with your child is what does your affect or your face look like? How are your emotions matching that moment or that language connection you're having with your child? Okay. If you have a flat affect because you are super tired and your brain and your heart's not in the moment, maybe it's not the right time to engage in one of these language modeling sessions, okay? Maybe you model what to do and some strategies for when you're feeling tired, okay? Consider how you use your body language, okay? How intrusive you are or not. Consider what visual supports you might need to include while interacting with your child. Do you need their pictures? Do you need to make sure you're using gestures so that you are pointing and including joint attention with them? Do you need to use sign language? Are they a signer? Do you need to make sure your volume of voice is louder or softer for either hearing sensitivities or hearing impairments? Do you need to increase or decrease your proximity to your child? Okay. And of course, if your child uses an AAC device, this should be absolutely included in your language modeling. Okay, so great stuff about language. Now, Miss Grove, how are we going to use this within our home environment? Well, with daily routines. We all have many different routines that we literally do with our eyes closed almost. And the reason that we like to pick routines as a starting point for language modeling is because as a parent, you can go through those routines rotely. You could close your eyes and complete a routine. Okay. So then it which should ideally make it easier for just plopping in some of that language modeling into that routine. So, when we look at what a routine is, they are activities we complete on a frequent basis. They might involve multiple steps that are performed in sequence or specific orders. Routines become predictable. This is another fantastic reason why routines are great for language modeling. Your child knows that you are going to perform a certain amount of steps. Okay, you've practiced them, you do them with your child. There's already a moment of connection that you have with your child. So, this is a perfect opportunity to include language. What are some of those types of routines? Maybe you're having a brain fart right now and can't think of it. Here's some examples. Mealtime. Perhaps in your home, you always make the meal in the kitchen. You always perhaps use a certain way to get the dishes, get the food, make the food, and then present the food. Maybe currently your little toddler loves to choose the plate for their food. Heaven forbid you get the wrong color, though. Another form of a routine is toileting. For toileting or diaper changing, whatever it might be, there's always a place. There's always supplies needed, right? And there's always parent adult support for diaper changing, toileting routines. And usually there's some sort of washing or cleaning. Then there's dressing. Well, as much as our little infants, toddlers, and preschoolers would love to be naked all day long, unfortunately, we do have to conform with society and clothe ourselves. So, there are also routines that you have to your unique family needs for dressing, okay? Transporting is another routine. Transporting includes preparing to get ready to leave the home, the traveling away from the home, as well as coming back from the home or coming back from your traveling back to home. Okay. There are many steps that you include, whether you have your own family vehicle, you use public transportation, maybe your child is attending a school-based service and they use the bus, right? So there's different types of routines revolving around transporting. And then there's bedtime. So many different routines. As much as we would love the same routine for bedtime, it doesn't always work out. That's okay. That's life. We understand. But I know that we attempt to create some sort of bedtime or sleep routine. Again, this is with parent connections with their child and a perfect opportunity to embed language. Okay, so let's dive into mealtime. All right, logistically, if you are coming home, you are exhausted, you haven't eaten all day either, your affect is super flat and just really limited on your mental capability at the time. You need to consider, is mealtime tonight the best time for me to provide language modeling for my child? So I want you to think yay or nay. Is mealtime tonight it? Because guess what? You don't have to do language modeling 24/7. Okay. You always need to pick what's just right for you and what you are realistically able to accomplish in that day at that time. So perhaps mealtime is a perfect time for you tonight. We are going to include some language modeling. I need to consider, should I do it during preparation of the meal, getting supplies together, the cooking of the meal, eating of the meal, or during the cleanup of the meal, or during all of it? An example of self talk would be you describing exactly what you're doing. Let's think about chicken nuggets, okay? Perhaps you're narrating. Your little one's in a high chair and can full on see you in the kitchen. You're going to narrate how you find the food, get the food together, and cook the food, okay? Now, at the same time, you could even provide parallel talk and describe what your child is doing. They're watching you, they're sitting in their high chair. Maybe they have some puffs that they're eating. So you can describe, ooh, you're using your fingers to pick up your puffs and put them in your mouth. Oh, you put them on your head. You silly kid. Puffs don't go on your head, they go in your mouth. Okay, so that could be parallel talk. Perhaps your child is actually helping you prepare. That might be an awesome fine motor activity for them to do with you, okay? As well as embedding the talking. Perhaps your little one helps you chop things, okay? So as they're chopping, they might say, chop, chop, chop. And you would, to repeat and expand, say, ooh, chop, 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 little pieces for our salad. Chop, chop, chop. Let's now scoop it in the bowl. Okay. You would then say what they say and expand. This can happen again throughout any time of the mealtime preparation, consumption, and cleanup. All right. Woo, yeah. Toileting, diapering, our most favorite times and the most beautiful wrestling actions throughout our time with our little ones. Okay. Well, again, let's consider, is language modeling something I'm capable of accomplishing right now in my own personal mental state? Okay. Yay or nay? Okay. If it's a yay, then let's proceed. I think I might consider traveling to that designated location where we either complete the toileting routine or the diapering routine. Perhaps there's necessary materials that I might be able to describe and talk about, like a step stool, or a diaper, or the wipes, or the changing pad, or perhaps the special potty seat, or the floor toilet seat. We all know what potty training is like. Perhaps I need to include some vocabulary or language revolving around pulling up or pulling down. Moving my body. Is my body or my child's body going up or down? And then what do we do when we're done? Do we throw something away? Do we flush? Do we close? And most importantly, washing our hands. Toileting is a fantastic way to include some sing alongs, okay? Yes, you might be doing self talk, describing what you're doing. I'm helping you up on the potty. Okay, I'm moving your legs. Let's make sure we aim down. Or it could be that your little one is sitting. Wow, you're sitting. Look at you. Your tushy's on the potty. Your hands are in your lap, or you're holding your toilet paper and you're waiting for the potty to come out. Okay, or you might repeat and expand. They might say up because they need to go up on the potty, or they need to push their tushy up so that you can pull down their pants and put on a new diaper. Okay, so you might repeat up and you say, up, you're up, we're getting up on the toilet, or up, pushing tushy up for mommy, or daddy, or grandma, or grandpa, or auntie, whoever's changing you. Okay, so on top of that, some other great things to do, because toileting might not be one of the most exciting parts of your child's routines, is to engage in sing alongs, right? How can we try to avoid escaping from the situation and increase some motivation and some interactions? So you might start to sing, okay? And you might have a potty song or a diaper song, and you sing and you sing. Not only are you providing language then, but maybe you stop and see if your child fills in a sound. Okay. Maybe you stop and see and hear your child, look who wasn't looking at you before. And then you proceed again to start singing. There are many things that you can incorporate without just self talk, parallel talk, and repeat and expand during toileting routines. Okay. Dressing. Now, depending on the age of your little one and the preferences they might have, dressing, again, dressing at night into PJs might be something you're more willing to tackle than dressing routines in the very morning when everybody is rushing fast to get out of the house on time. So, dressing, is it a yay or a nay for you? Always consider. Okay, if it's a yay and we're ready to tackle this, think about how you're picking out the clothes. You are picking out the clothes, you might use self talk, or you're allowing your child to pick out the clothes. So you would use parallel talk. Ooh, I see you taking out your shirt. You picked the shirt with a big unicorn on it. Wow, how beautiful. The unicorn has pink, and pink matches their pink socks you picked out. Those socks will go on your feet. You can describe their actions of actually putting on, a lot of the younger words of pulling up, pushing down, pulling your arm in and out. So thinking of those kind of simple words. Perhaps your child is advanced in language and you're doing the repeat and expand. Okay. I also want you to think about how you can repeat and expand with just sound utterances. Maybe your child is trying to put on their sock, right? Just like the little kid in the picture. And they go, You could still repeat and expand with just those sounds. You might go, oh man, this is really hard. I'm pulling and it just isn't moving. Okay, so you're providing a little bit more language on top of those sounds. Same with children who might vocalize with purpose, but also use their AAC device, right? You might be describing with their AAC device and activating icons as they are doing things as your form of parallel talk. Okay. Next, transporting. Okay. Getting ready to leave. the moment of actually leaving, while you're transporting, and then the end game. All right, this is a great time to include language modeling. Now, again, yay or nay, perhaps you are lost in the car. Okay, you've got a packed car, everyone's there, it's crazy. You're panicking. Google Maps is doing a horrible job. Something went wrong. Okay, it's probably not the best time to work on language modeling. You might even want to try to keep your mouth shut for some of the modeling you might be thinking in your head. But if it is a yay and you're having a really nice preparation and drive, then some things to consider would be, hey, the routine for getting stuff together, shoes, jackets, backpacks. Maybe your kid's going to school or daycare. Maybe your kid's going to grandma's house for the weekend and you have a date night. Whatever it might be, how can you provide that language modeling for those routines? Okay. You can apply self talk, parallel, and repeat and expand for those preparations to transport. Once you're actually transporting, is I personally feel one of the easiest ways to provide some talking. Perhaps you get some motivation and put some music on and you play some little kid jams, whatever it might be. And then you pause it and you turn it off. The kid might say something because you stopped it. They might make a grunt. So you might say, "Oh, yeah, I like that song too. We should keep playing, Mom. We should turn it back on, Dad." Okay. And then activate the music again. Maybe you stop and your child starts to fill in some of the songs. Amazing. Perhaps you're having a no music moment and an ambulance just drove by, or the Burke fire truck, or wherever you are in Fairfax County. Sorry, I shouldn't be biased to the Burke neighborhood area. And you say, "Oh my gosh, I hear some loud sounds. I think it might be a fire truck. It's going to the rescue." That would be self-talk, right? Perhaps your child starts pointing out the window because they see something. Then you can start parallel talk with, "I see what you see. You see a doggy out there." And the doggy is walking next to the man. The doggy has black spots. He's doing a great job staying close by. Okay, so lots and lots of ways to talk while you're in the car. I must say that some of our tablet use in the car can actually prohibit that perfect opportunity to provide back and forth communication and language modeling as you're driving. Now, I'm not saying that you can't use it. Okay. I'm just saying that think about an opportunity for you to use that self talk, parallel, and repeat and expand while perhaps you're driving. Or if you're the passenger, you could do it while someone else is driving. Okay. All right. Now, bedtime. Again, we must consider, yay or nay, is this the best routine given my state right now as a parent, as well as this current day and time? If your child is sick or your child's primary needs aren't being met, this is not the time to work on language modeling. Okay. However, you still might use language modeling like self talk or parallel talk if your child's engaging in an evening bedtime routine tantrum. How common are those? So common. However, if it increases your child's tantrum, please don't do it then. Let them have the opportunity to calm down. However, if it might be appropriate to say, "Oh, we are getting ready for bedtime. I'm going to get my little one's clothes ready and the toothbrush ready, and I'm going to go to the bathroom." Even though they might be protesting, you can still self-talk what you're doing to get ready for the bedtime routine. Now, perhaps it's a perfect yay. Bedtime routine is going to be great. We're all sleepy and ready for this to happen. Some parts of the routine that you might want to include language modeling could be during the calm down steps of your routine. Do you do massages? Do you do lotions? Do you play quiet time music, a white noise machine? Do you have good night farewells to everybody in the house? Do you give kisses and hugs? Do you provide times for snuggling? Do you read books with your little one before nighttime? Are there any special nighttime songs that you sing? There might be other family traditions that you do in which you can include self talk, parallel talk, repeat, and expand. I would consider, though, the volume of your voice during these routines, as you also want your little one to start to wind down. So, as you're doing your self talk and your parallel talk or your repeat and expand, consider slowing down your rate of speech and your volume of voice. You might even begin to whisper. All right, everyone. I really hope that you were able to find some ideas on how you might incorporate language throughout daily routines. Again, routines we can do with our eyes closed. So they should ideally allow us to provide some opportunities to embed language. What are you going to do what are you going to start doing now that you know some ways to enrich your daily routines? I smell a little homework here. Remember, start small. You do not need to do every routine. Perhaps you do it on every routine, but you only do it for the first few steps. Or you only pick one routine. Okay? Start small and do what fits your capacity, given the moment and your child's readiness for learning. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I hope you were able to get something out of this early childhood session.